Hey guys, I trust you all are doing excellent by the mercies of God. Real quick, I just want to basically talk to you guys about my first impressions on Studio One. If you guys don't know what that is, we are going to dive into it more. All right, so basically, if you are on Mac a lot, if you use, Macintosh, if you've been using Mac all these years, we all know the common softwares that we use on Mac, right? If you're on Mac, you are probably using something like GarageBand, Logic Pro, or Pro Tools. Those are kind of like the top three from, softwares that, from all my experience, that I've gathered that most, Mac users use. So recently, I was having a problem with the broadcasting issues that we are having at L4C Multimedia. We are a broadcasting company as well, meaning we broadcast, TV, online TV, and stuff like that. And I was trying to figure out the best way to really get things to be more stable, because we were getting a lot of stream drops, all kinds of stuff, right? So very recently, I built a custom PC. All right, a custom PC. It's out of the shots. You guys can't really see it, but when I move the camera around, you guys can kind of see that right here. Okay, that's the custom PC right there. So very recently, I built a custom PC, which is very recent. When I mean recent, I mean recent. And I'm like, okay, I cannot just be using this PC just to do streaming, right? This PC gotta, be able to handle some more work, such as, recording, music DAW, video editing, photo editing, all these things, music editing, photo editing, and sound editing, right? Anything that I wanted to do, it should pretty much be able to do. So I put myself to the task of pushing the system. So I was like, you know what? Let me go ahead and just push the system just to see its capability. By the way, if you are wondering what the specifications of the systems are, is a very high-end computer, custom built, with about 4 terabyte of internal hard drive, space. It's running on the AMD Ryzen 5800X. Actually, let me pull the system information here so I could just tell you. All right. So yeah. So basically, it's a 64 base PC running on the Ryzen 7 5800X. Okay, and it's an 8-core processor. Okay, it's an 8-core processor, and like I said, the RAM is 64 gigabyte. All right, so it's not as it's not any low-end system. So I was like, you know what? Let me push the system and see what all the system can do, right? And so that's when I got into, the idea of, basically just pushing it just to see what all it can do. All right. I know that's a long introduction. You guys are going to understand me very shortly. So you have been in Logic. You have been in Pro Tools. You have been in GarageBand. And you saying to yourself, do I really need Studio One? Let me tell you guys something. If you're probably anywhere close to where I'm at right now, or where I was a few days ago prior to me purchasing Studio One, maybe yesterday or 2 days ago, if you're anywhere close to that, I can guarantee you that you're probably thinking about these two things, right? You're probably thinking about Cubase. Yes, you're probably thinking about Cubase or Studio One, or possibly Ableton, maybe. Right? So if you're any person like me who's trying to see what is the next software you can add to your collections, or what you can migrate to, or you can start using, you're probably thinking of one of the two, right? You're probably thinking of Ableton, you're probably thinking of Cubase, you're probably thinking of Studio One of these three. But most likely Cubase or Studio One, right? Or Pro Tools, but most people are already on Pro Tools, I'll say. So Studio One has been there for many years from what I've gathered, but, So how did I come to my decision of deciding to go with Studio One over Pro Tools? I did a lot of research, and I think based on what I gathered, and I also had Studio One, Artist 3 some years back. I just wasn't using it because I was more, locked into Logic. So I was like, you know what, let me just start messing with it. So I started messing with the 3 artists, and I realized that the workflow and the environment was similar to Logic in a way, but a bit confusing because it's a slightly different ways of doing certain things, especially when it comes to the mixing side, right? But in terms of programming, same layout. It's not like FL where you have to you're only limited to a grid. I don't know how FL looks now. Probably more to it, but FL would have just the grid and you just plug in stuff. Now, this one had a similar environment like Logic. Okay, so what is the purpose of today's lesson? The purpose of today's lesson is for me to just tell you the problems that I encountered trying to install it and what are my first impressions. Okay, and that's what I'm going to talk to you about. If you want to know, should you get Cubase or should you get Studio One? In my honest opinion, based on what I've gathered, if you are somebody who's coming from Logic, I'd advise you to go with Studio One. If you are somebody who is coming from Logic, go with Studio One. You'll thank me later. And I'll also advise you, if you are somebody who's just doing music for fun, maybe you do the music, then you give it to a producer to mix and master the song for you. You don't really do your own mixing and mastering. If you are that person, stick with artists. Don't waste your money getting professional, which is what I have. But if you are somebody who is a mastering engineer, do not play with the choice of going either or. Because when you go on Presonus website to see the comparison, you are going to lose certain things that are key functions to the mixing side, and certain privileges you will not get in Artists. But if you're just doing general mixing and those kind of basics, do go with Artists. I can tell you can't go any wrong with any of the two choices. Okay, all right, I've talked a lot, about 7 minutes. I'm going to try and speed it up a little bit so I can just get straight into Studio One and tell you my first impressions. Let me tell you the kind of things that I faced. Okay, so I was basically on Studio One, Artist 3. I decided, hey, let me just upgrade and use the 5 Professional just about 2 days ago. Okay, and I'm now properly installing everything. So far, I might have certain things that I might have to check again. But let's go ahead and bring in Studio One, okay, so we can see how Studio One looks like. All right, so if you're looking at Studio One, this is how Studio One will look like. Let me bring my camera up so you guys can see me still. All right, so if you're looking at Studio One, whenever you open Studio One, it's going to look something like this, okay? All right, it's going to look a lot different than a lot of you guys who have been using Logic. Don't worry about it, okay? Right now, I'm just going to use one of my mixers that I use for streaming right now. So I'm not really going to use my Focusrite, which is what I use whenever I'm doing programming or whatever. So if you're somebody who's ever wondering, should you stick with 48,000 kilohertz? If you are somebody who's ever wondering, or should you stick with 44.1? I'd advise you stick with 44.1 if you don't know what you're doing. But if you know what you're doing, this is what I advise you. Program your songs in 48.0 or 48,000, okay, kilohertz. Program your songs there. Whenever you are doing something for another producer, like you are sending an audio to the producer to finish the work, whatever be the case, go ahead and record in 48,000 kilohertz. Now, you can go ahead and do other ones if your sound card or like your MIDI interface will support it or your mixer will support it, okay? But I'd advise you, do not burn out your computer CPU. Just really try and stick between 44.1 and 48.0, okay? So this section right here, okay? So my advice to you is always record in 48.0 if you don't know what you are doing, okay? If you want to just find a good spot, get things cool, there is no need for 48.0. Okay, stick with 44.1. I use 44.1 in Logic all these years. I never ever use 48.0 ever. All right, it's only in Studio One that I'm doing that because my system has higher specs and can really do a lot. Okay, I mean, it's like a tier 3 system, you know, almost like a tier 4, you know, but you know, it's a tier 3 body. Okay, so just stick with 44.1. Okay, this is what I'll tell you. If you know what you're doing, record in 48.0, mix in 48.0. If you need to go slightly higher for mixing purposes, you can. You know, you can do that. But when it comes to delivering to, you know, platforms like iTunes and all these other, you know, platforms that you might want to share your music to, when it comes to registration and all that, trust me, you might want to just stick with 44.1 to make things easier, because there are certain distributors who will not accept 48.0 or, you know, other higher end stuff. They're just going to basically you know, take the quality away and bring it to their standard. Okay, so just save yourself the stress there. Okay, anyways, you open up Studio One. Here are my first impressions. All right, my first things first is I wasn't really getting sound. Okay, I wasn't really getting my plugins to show. This is where the pain was for me mainly. Okay, here I come in Studio One. This was not showing like you guys can see it. It was just some, you know, other thing. Let me show you what that was. It was this other thing here. Where is it at? Right. It was this thing right here. No audio device. Okay, you guys see that? All right. So let me just cancel that. All right. So you come in, you see this. So the first question you're going to want to tell yourself is, how the heck do I get my MIDI interface to show up here? Okay. So this is what I'm going to tell you. This is the first thing I had to do. Okay. Say you are using Scarlett. Say you are using Scarlett, you know, 2i2, whatever it is. Okay. Let me tell you what you got to do. All right. Let me bring this here. Okay. So let me create another window here. Screen capture, new capture. Let me just do wind monitor. Okay, and let's configure it to monitor 1. Boom, bam, cool. So here, great. So say you are using you know, Scarlett 2i2 or Focusrite, whatever it is. Okay, so this is what you need to do. You need to go to Google or wherever you got to go. All right, or Persona's website. Okay, so go to Persona's website. Okay, that's where you need to go. Okay, and you need to go to, there you go, personas.com. That's where I meant to go. All right, so come on Persona's website, go to support. Support. Okay, let me make this easier. All right, let me make this easier. So Scarlett, let's say you are using 2i2, which is very common for most people. 2i2, say 3rd gen driver, Windows 10 or whatever you're on. Guys, I kid you not, you're gonna have to do something like this. This was one of the main reasons why I struggled. I tried and tried. It was recognizing it, but it wasn't playing, right? So you're gonna have to find your way to to Focusrite's website and get the installation done. Okay, you guys get the idea. You guys basically have to go to Focusrite's website and get that done. Okay. Same thing if you're using a PreSonus MIDI interface. Let's just say, let me see which one this is. All right, there you go. And let's just say you need a driver for it, Windows 10. You're gonna have to do that, whatever it is. Go there to PreSonus, okay? Go find it and go download it, okay? Whatever you gotta do to get your driver updated, you're gonna have to do it. So what you guys are gonna realize is this. On my system, I have basically two type of Focusrite signals coming in. I basically have the regular thing is reading. Then I also have pretty much, I have what is reading. At the same time, I have the USB aspect of it too. Okay, so I kid you not, you're gonna have to do that. All right. So that's the first things first you're gonna have to do. All right. So assuming you know how to update your driver so it can work on your Windows, guys, don't miss that step. It's very important. It was one of the reasons why I struggled, because the system was picking it up, but nothing was happening. Nothing good was happening. All right. So you're gonna have to do that. All right. And then after that, try restarting your system too. All right. So anyways, you come in Studio One, you look at this page. Okay. So I already told you one of my issues. One of my issues was I wasn't getting it to Focusrite to read so it can work. It was reading differently, but nothing was happening. All right. So once you come in Studio One, the page is going to look like this. You have the option to go to the top here, and go to options, and then stick in the audio side and come right here and get all that work done. If you need to do it this way, that's one way. Or you have the option to go to configure audio device. Okay, and it will take you right there. Come right in here and get it done that way too. Okay, so you have the option to do either of the things that I'm explaining. Cool. So let me go ahead and use Windows Audio for what I'm doing here. All right, let me use Windows Audio for what I'm doing here, and let me just say, okay. All right, so let me explain this audio setup since we are here. If you are using Focusrite, based on your sample rate, you would want to pick what is suitable for you. This is what I'm going to advise you guys. If you are going to be recording anywhere from 64 down, you are probably not trying to come up with the most professional music. Try to stay somewhere between. The lowest I would advise you to do is 128. Somebody will probably disagree with me on this and say probably 96. I kind of don't agree with that theory. I will tell you 128, between 128 to about 512. Okay, if your system is powerful enough to handle all these samples. Okay, or sample rates. Okay. With the block size, larger calls are differently. So whatever, yours will have. All right. So I would advise you stick between 128 to 512. Okay. That is if your system can handle it. But without the benefit of the doubt, if your system can handle it, but you just want to stay safe, stay between 128 and 192. I'd advise you that. For me personally, I use 128. Okay. Or 256. One of the two is what I've been using almost all the time. Okay, so use 128 or any of the suggested, but for me personally, I use 128 or 256. Okay, whichever one will work for you, do that. Okay, so on this side you get this done this way, and you set a sample rate the way you need to have it done. And then with the processing part, this is basically for playback. More so for like mixing. Okay, you could set something different. It's usually going to be defaulted to minimum and something different, but you can come to medium and then go ahead and set a different one or 64-bit. Okay, cool. I'm on it. All right, guys, quick commercial break. All right, guys, sorry about for the distraction, okay? You know, when you're home with the little kids, you know how it goes. All right, sorry for that short distraction. All right, so like I was saying, set it accordingly to meet your needs, okay? Default it to minimum. You can bring it high, maximum, whatever, and get a higher sample rate, whatever, just for mixing. All right, so that was one of the problems I encountered, okay? While I'm in this window, let's do it differently. Let's go ahead and switch this to Windows. Okay. And okay, from here, the next thing is, how the heck do I get to this door or this place so I can start doing my work, right? You start going crazy, okay? Well, guess what? You're gonna need to click on New Song over here. Then you're gonna have to put in whatever song you want. Okay, song 1 by maybe Test. The person's name is Test. The person's song's name is song 1. Okay. Then you're gonna have to pick the sample rate you want to work with. Okay. Say I want to work with 44.1, like I'd advise you guys to do. Sure, I can pick that. If I want to work with 16-bit, sure, I'd advise you for recording purposes, do either of these ones, 24, 32, or 64. I don't think you ever need to do that a lot. Usually 24 and 32 should be good enough. Okay, that is when you're doing heavy work or like heavy instruments that you need to record in. But most times 24 should get it done. All right, cool. So after that, you go ahead and you say okay, and that's it. Okay, so now you're in Studio One. Okay, so this is what I'm thinking is happening here. I'm thinking my screen capture, let's see, screen capturing. Let's see what we got. It's not easy to do these things, you know. Sometimes these screen captures can be crazy. All right, Studio One, Song 1. Let's go ahead and okay, we are in it. It is showing that. Okay. Anyways, whatever. Let's go ahead and just say new track. Let's see. Okay, it's not allowing me. Interesting. Okay, so all right. New song. Wow. Okay. Yeah, you see, these are some of the challenges that I was talking about. Again, I'm streaming, so that's not a reason for why it's not working. Let me create a new capture. Let's do, you know what? Let's just do a window capture. You know what? Let's keep it simple. Let's do a window capture, and let me exit out of Studio. Close. Let me close Studio One. Let's do that. Let me close Studio One. All right. And let's do a window capture. Okay. Let's do a window capture, and let's configure. All right, cool. Let's configure the window to this window here. Okay. And let's go ahead and open Studio One in that. Okay. All right. I'm gonna skip all the other stuff we talked about. All right, so what's happening is Studio One is starting on this side of the monitor, so you guys are not able to see it, but don't worry, I'll bring it over shortly. All right, cool. All right, so we get back to this side. All right, come on. All right, so we get back to the side. All right, where we got to was we got to new song, and then it just build out on us, right? So let's just click OK. There you go. I think it just don't allow us to do that. I think Logic used to do that to me too. All right, so we're just gonna do a Windows, a monitor. No big deal. All right, cool. So once you come in here, the other thing you're gonna be wondering is, oh shoot, I'm in a whole new DAW. How do I get my Logic? How do I get it to look like Logic? How do I move around? Like, how do you record? You're gonna wonder all those things, right? All right, cool. Here's the good news. Studio One has this thing here. When you go to Studio One and you go to what the heck, keyboard shortcuts, okay? Guess what? Look right down here, keyboard mapping scheme. Look at this, Studio One. Look right there, Cubase, Logic, Pro Tools, Cakewalk. Or you can even import whatever files, shortcuts you've saved into whatever file type it will accept and import it. Okay, so that is a great news there, right? So that is one of the things you're gonna wonder. Once you get those done, it gets pretty simple. It's as simple as if you come here and it says, let's just say for example you want to know how to record. What does regular record is? You come here, you go to record, it says record is R. That's because I've set mine to R. But if you wanted to set it to their default, it's going to be this thing right here, the number part, the asterisk, okay? And you get that done, okay? So you can do all those shortcuts in there so that it can meet up to whatever you need, however you need to have it look like, okay? Okay, so I'm not really going to go too much into details with this lesson. This is just my first impression of certain issues I encountered and just trying to help somebody out there who might be in my shoes and might be wondering these things. But I will actually come back with a more in-depth lesson once I get this, I really get this, this software figured out, or this DAW figured out in terms of usage, okay? Cool. All right, so the next thing is you come into instruments, you see instrument, effects, loops, blah, 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 blah. I'm going to tell you guys this. Studio One does a very good job getting these things together the right way, okay? You might come to Plugin Manager, and let me tell you what. You might not see all these things you see on my screen. You might not see all these. You're going to see something different that looks very minimal. It's going to look something like personas. You see how these renders are there? You might see only just persona stuff and not all these things you see from me, okay? And yours might look a little different. That is okay. How do you fix that problem? Well, guess what? Most people are going to worry about instrument plugins or using third-party VSTs. Okay. Oh yes, that's the other thing. Let me tell you guys this here. This is the reason why I had no choice but to pick the pro version. Well, not the only reason, but it's because of the other version that I was in, right? So I was in Studio One Artist Artist 3, okay? Studio 1, 3 Artist, whatever they call it, okay? And guess what? You see how you guys can see these extra when you come to look where is it at? The locations. You see how you guys can see instrument library and VST plugins? Those were not there. It was just like some 3 tabs, and I didn't have much going on. So that was a big push for me to have to go get the most updated one, okay, and on a professional level, which is what had to let me go in for the kill, right? Or go in for it all, okay? So if you are ever wondering why you don't have that option, that's because it's too outdated. Get into the new ones, or else third-party VSTs is not gonna work for you in the version you are using, okay? Cool. So we come to, you know, instruments here, or by clicking here, same, okay? And most times what we are gonna be seeing is just the Personas one. You're not gonna see all these extra ones that I've added, okay? You're gonna see just this right here that you installed based on the how do you call it, the professional version, okay? All right, that's what you're gonna see, okay? And so what will happen is once you see that, you're gonna be like, oh shoot, I want to get all my third-party plugins in here. So that is where this is gonna come back in. Either go to the plugin manager, okay, and then go to update plugins so it can rescan your system and try and find whatever is you know, whatever you have that is not scanning properly, whatever be the case, okay? Or the most important one, go to options, come to locations, and then go to VST plugins, okay? Let me tell you guys this. You guys can tell I have all kinds of files loaded up. I'm going to tell you guys this funny thing. I have all kinds of third-party VSTs in different places, right? And so I cannot. You might be too lazy like me, and you might not want to go to all these VST, you know, folders. It's going to be too much for you, right? So if you know generally what, you know, main folder the subfolders are at. For example, a lot of us have our stuff in say add, okay? A lot of us will have our stuff somewhere like, say, your local C and your program files and around here somewhere, okay? So a lot of us are going to have it somewhere like that, okay? So wherever it is, go locate it, go find it, and bring it in here. The moment you do that, this apply will not be grayed out like it's grayed out. It's going to light up like these for you to be able to click on it, click apply, and then it's going to scan it all, and bam, it's going to be here. And all I would advise you to do is do re-index presets and also rescan by right clicking. Once you do all that, right click and click refresh. So that way it can rescan real quick and then do whatever it needs to do, okay? All right, cool. And then the other thing, say you are in over here and you're like, oh shoot, I'm in audio, I can't really change this, blah, 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 blah. That's because your song was set to 48.0. So what you will need to do is go to song setup and then change it and click apply and click OK. When you go back, okay, is this then frozen? Having some system issues here. Okay, I guess because I'm streaming and doing all this. All right, cool. Let's take care of that real quick. All right, cool. As you guys can tell, it's not easy to be streaming and doing this stuff, but you know, I'm just trying to do it. Let me just help some of you guys out. I know some of you guys really struggle with stuff like this. You know, I'm just getting in Studio One, and so far, I thought it would be a bad story, but I'm kind of liking where everything is heading. Okay. Anyways, all right, we are back here. Okay, let me see, which one am I in? All right, cool. All right, so we are back here. All right, so like I said, you will scan, go to your instrument plugins, make sure you go to options, go to locations, and then just add those up, let it scan, and it's gonna have all those stands here. Just restart the system and get it going. Okay. All right. So I think this is not really helpful to some of you guys, but I will come back and do something much better. Okay, where it's much more straight to the point kind of thing. This is just more relaxed, free verse, or just open type of thing. Okay. Real quick. Let's talk about this here. So if you don't have any of these things, okay. So another thing, you might come in waves and you'll be like, oh shoot, waves. Let me tell you guys, this happened to me, funny enough, right? You come in waves like, oh shoot, electronic, I don't see all my waves. Well, guess what? Waves is not really an instrument, company. They are an effect company, effect plugins. So do come to effect site and go to your waves and bam, look at that. Whatever you have is going to be there, okay? But let me tell you guys this. When I first started installing waves, it was not showing everything. So you might have to do multiple ways of trying to get it to scan properly. And which is why you guys see in this folder, let me tell you guys this. Which is why you guys see in this folder, I have literally waves. You guys realize waves is, I have it going from the VST plugins. I have it going to Wave Central. I have it going to multiple places, right? That's because I didn't want anything to be left out, because you might have to do those things to get everything to show up to do whatever you need to get done, right? And Taris, right there, if you're using auto tune. And of course, you guys know this comes with Melodyne. So you go to the ceremony and Melodyne is right there and you use that, right? So whatever you need to use will be right in there, okay? So real quick, personas. What are some of my impressions so far? Let me tell you guys this. When you come to the my Thai, whatever they call it, okay, and you come to the drum side, let me tell you guys this. This right here is a beast. Honestly speaking, I started messing with it. It sounds very good. You guys hear that? You guys hear that? You guys hear that? All right, cool. Oh, you guys are not able to see this stuff. All right, so you guys see that? Looks good. Let me tell you guys multiple ways of loading your instrument. Let me tell you guys this. It's not like Logic where you just click and it just change. Click and it just change. Click and it's like, you're going to have to do it inside the actual instrument interface, whatever you want to call it. Your instrument environment, whatever you want to call it, right? It's not like that. It's not like that clickable. You can double click. Well, let me tell you guys this. If this is closed and you were double clicking to change, nothing will happen, okay? But I guess because I have this open, which is why when I double click, it's changing, okay? But trust me, if it's not open, it doesn't work that way, all right? Anyways, so this is what I had up. One way to load another thing, say if I wanted to check this out, is, as you guys can see, I double click and it changed. I double click and it changed. That's fine. That's one way. Or you're going to have to drag it on, drag it on, drag it on. That's one way to change, okay? Then another way to change is actually come in here and actually come change all your stuff in here. So that is a beautiful thing about, Studio One. You have multiple ways you can get these things loaded up. So I like that. I like that about that. Logic has similar stuff, so it's nothing too surprising to me. But I like the fact that, they make it, they give you the flexibility. At the end of the day, I'm going to tell you guys this. I'm very impressed with a lot of things. Their graphics look very good. Their graphics look very good. The instruments look good. They look like real keys. It looks good. Okay. And like I said, this section here has great stuff. And guess what, guys? I'm not really, let me show you guys this. I'm not really recording with my keyboard. I'm just using a short keyboard, so I'm not really able to play all the ranges. I'm just using a small one right here just to kind of get this lesson done. So you're not really gonna see the ranges and all that stuff, right? So all you're gonna see is just, all you're gonna hear is whatever range the keyboard is in, okay? Guys, the point is, it does a great job, okay? It does a great job, okay? So that is one of the things. I think the Impact 2 may have had some stuff. Like I said, you're gonna have to just check it out, and trust me, you're gonna find some very good sounding instruments. I guarantee you, you're not gonna be disappointed. You're gonna find some very good sounding instruments in here. Guess what? See what I did? Boom. You know why? Because it's a separate instrument. So what I would need to do is give it its own channel. There you go. This is the one I was looking for. This sounds good, guys. It sounds very good. It sounds very good. This sounds very good. Again, this is not the exact one. You guys hear that? You guys see that? Guys, I'm telling you, you guys are not going to be disappointed. That's why I'm telling you, go with a pro. Trust me. You're going to thank me later. Go with a pro. All right, I can't really do. You guys see that? You guys see that, guys? So cool. So cool. So cool, right? Then you got all these boom, 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 boom. Guys, you guys are not gonna be disappointed. When I tell you, you won't be disappointed. Trust me. You won't be disappointed. All right. Anyways, that is one of my impressions. The Impact, not the Mai Tai. Okay, the Impact is so good. I like it. All right. Then the other one I love. If you are those guys, if you're one of those guys who know how to play the piano and all that, trust me, you're going to spend a lot of times. If you're one of those guys who like making beats, you're going to probably find yourself using the Impact a lot. That is just my first impression. Again, remember, this is only one day of opening the door. I've not really taken time, right? But I'm going to come up back with a more in-depth, lessons on Studio One once I get comfortable. All right. So the other thing here is presence. Okay. Look at this, guys. Look at this. When you load up their keyboards, look at this. Say I want Rose Vintage. Say I want that. Look at this. Similar way. You can load it up or you can pick it up from here, right? So watch this. Hear how good they sound. I can't really play on this specific keyboard. Like I said, it's a very small one, right? So you guys, it's so good. All right, it's so good. You guys will love this one. Okay. Wow. You guys will love it. Trust me. All right. Keep in mind, this is not the only keyboard, right? This is just me picking a random one. Okay, but there's all kinds. Suitcase. I know some of you guys do like Suitcase. All right. All right. Cool. Right. All right. Guys, I don't want to take a lot of your time today. this is all I want to talk about so far. I think you guys have seen a little bit of the things that I had to go through from get that driver installed, right, for your audio interface. Get that installed. Make sure you follow some of the advices I gave to get some of these things resolved. Then make sure you get your plugins, directed through the directory the right way. Okay. Make sure you rescan. Okay. Get it rescanned. You come to home, go to plugin manager, and it's gonna pop up. Okay, and just rescan it. Okay. Update means you want to scan. Okay, so just get it done. Okay, cool. So that's that one way. Okay, and you guys realize why I have this here disabled, right? I'll tell you guys why. Because I don't know what the heck it is, right? And I don't want my computer to be affected, so I just disabled it in this app so it doesn't always keep taking long. Because what's going to happen is when it's loading all these things. Okay, let me tell you guys one thing. The more things you have in here, the longer it's going to take to load up at startup. Let me say it one more time. The more things you have in here, the longer it's going to take to load up at startup. So be careful how you organize your files. If you want to make it easy, get them in one place to make your life easier. Okay? Or it's going to scan different folders in, which is kind of what my problem is here, right? You guys realize I have it all around. You guys realize I'm even scanning the whole common files folder. That shouldn't be the case. It should just go straight to the point, right? But again, I have it this way because of other things that I have that is not only Studio One stuff, right? Cool. All right. So I think you guys get the basics of it all. What are some of my other impressions? Let me rush through that real quick. Guess what? When you bring up the mixer, look at how it looks like. So beautiful. Okay. Their mixer looks so nice. Let me tell you guys the other thing. You might not be able to see these inserts and all that, and you might be like, oh shoot, how the heck do I mix in Studio One? You are coming from Logic, you're like, man, how the heck am I gonna mix? I've been seeing people go right click and add a bus and right click and do an FX. I don't know how the heck I'm gonna do this. This looks so crazy because in Logic you could just click and click and click and click, and you might be saying that to yourself, right? Guys, it's not as hard as it may seem. One of the things that I realize is a lot of stuff is hidden in Studio One. You're gonna have to just learn your way around, okay? So for example, over here, you see how it has the sense, right? Right here. So I think, which one was it? Yeah, there you go, right here. You guys see that? You guys realize that when I brought it down, it's only showing the panning, okay? But when I take it up, watch what happens. Boom, it brings whatever these things are for you to do. Then the further I go, okay, the further I go, realize sense we're not showing, right? The further I go, look at that, sense. Oh shoot, how do I create the bus? Do I have to right click? Do I have to do all that? Well, if you are used to Logic, guess what? Pull it up and use sense and create a bus, create an FX, create a bus, send bus 1, go to your bus, send it to bus 1, blah, 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 blah. Create another bus 2, boom. And it's all in there if you need to, expand it, or, well, you might have to do it this way. See? That's what I'm telling you. A lot of stuff is hidden. You're going to have to learn your way around, guys. So it's not as hard as it may look, but so far, for my first impression, I'm going to tell you guys this. I think Studio One is heading in the right direction, because the way I look at this is this. If you are somebody who's been using Logic, you probably did not use Logic to master your songs, or you probably use Logic just to program. Then you use something like RackS or Wavelab to do your master, okay? Or something like that. You are probably somebody who don't do everything in Logic. You did some things in Logic, some things in Wavelab, and some things in RackS or something like that. You probably somebody like that. Let me tell you guys what Studio One have done. They have basically given you everything in one software. This is the easiest way I'm going to explain Studio One. If you like Logic, if you like Pro Tools, if you like Cubase, they are basically a combination of partial Logic, partial Pro Tools, and partial Cubase. If you like those three software, it's like little, and even some aspect of Ableton is in here too. So if you guys will realize something, Studio One don't look much different from Cubase. Watch this. I'm loading up Cubase. It's on the other side of the computer. Watch this. It don't look much different. You come, you get this thing right here. Looks similar, right? Then you go ahead and you create an empty select. Boom. And look at Cubase, right? It has something similar. You bring up your mixer. All right, Cubase do have some very good looking mixes, by the way. It looks very good, right? But honestly speaking, I think you're not getting it all in Cubase. You see how Cubase look, okay? And you just compare that to how Studio One look, and you tell yourself whatever you want to tell yourself, right? Trust me, you guys are going to be much more excited with Studio One if you're coming from Logic. Trust me, go with what I'm telling you. And look at me here. Look at me here. You are probably confused like I was. I took time before making a decision. If you're coming from Logic, I'm begging you, do not go Cubase. Go Studio One. If you're coming from Logic, Pro Tools, that line, or if you're coming from Mixcraft, those of you guys who don't really have money to spend, like me, when I started, I didn't have money to be like, hey, so I started with Mixcraft because I wanted something close to Logic. And guess what? Mixcraft was free at the time, if I'm not mistaken, or I eventually had to buy it. And I started from Mixcraft 7, and that's what I have. Even you can see on my computer, it's right here. Well, actually, it's not there. It's hidden in another folder, right? But I started with Mixcraft. So if you're somebody who really thinks you want to just have an environment you want to be familiar with, please don't go Cubase, okay? Please don't go. I'm just telling you, I'm nothing against Cubase. I have friend engineers who use Cubase, and actually I was strongly considering Cubase, but after debating over this, I said to myself, no way, Studio One is the route, okay? So make sure you don't make the wrong mistake, because just look at what I'm showing you. You can do all these things in Logic, okay? Plus more. Let me tell you some of the differences with this versus Logic. Okay, Logic would have the library somewhere over here, okay? Somewhere on the left side, okay? Well, guess what? Studio One puts everything right here. And then Logic has the library right here, and then the loops and other stuff right here. Studio One literally just put it all in one section for you. So to me, I really think Studio One learns something from Logic. Like I said, when you use Studio One, the feel you're gonna get, or the vibe you're gonna get, is a combination of the three soft doors that I just mentioned. A combination of Logic, Pro Tools, and Cubase. I kid you not. If you have used any of those softwares, you are gonna see an aspect of it in here. And remember I said, if you are somebody who master with Wavelab or T-RackS, well, guess what? Say I was recording a song, right, and I was done with the song. I'm like, oh shoot, I'm ready to master the song, blah, blah, blah. Well, guess what? In Logic, you just have Logic. In Studio One, they kind of just give you an environment that would look like Wavelab or T-RackS. To me, that's how I see it. And I think they learned something from either of these companies, okay? That's just my conviction, by the way. Not facts, but my convictions, that's what it tells me, okay? I'm just voicing my own opinion and my first impressions on this, okay? So look at this. All right, when you come in here, let's say you were done mixing a song, right? You see how it says new song? Guess what? Go to new project and watch what happens. This is what comes up, and just say you're done with the song, you're going to master the song. So say song 1 master. Song 1 master. Okay? Say you were done and you were ready to master. Watch what happens. It's happening on my other side of the screen. Don't worry. I'm going to pull it. I'm going to pull it up. Okay. It's happening on this monitor. It's 2 monitors. All right. So just watch. You guys are going to see. I'm not even going to do anything. I'm just going to pull it right over. All right. All right, it's taking a little while to load, so bear with me here. I kind of know why it's doing that, but let me do this. Let me just make it quicker. All right, so I know why it's doing that. So what I'll do is this. Let me go ahead and do Studio One, and I'm just going to change my audio interface to the Focusrite, okay? Because the other mix I use is for streaming. It's not really for what we are doing. So let me go ahead and change this up real quick. Okay, let me cancel this. All right, so all I'm going to do is I'm going to come here and change this up right here to the Focusrite. Okay, control panel. You guys see how it sets 4800, 480. All right, I can change that to maybe 192. That's what I wanted. Okay, and just click OK. All right, and now I'm using the Focusrite. I think that's really what's going on. All right, but here's what I'm trying to tell you guys. Okay, all right, song 1. Master. Okay, you guys see that? You guys see that? This is the same software, and look at what you're looking at. And from here, guess what you can do? You can go ahead and import your song. Okay, import your song. I don't have any stuff here, so probably not going to be a good idea to do anything. Let me see. Well, I do have some song. Let me go to this drive here. Let's do film room audio. Yeah, let's do this, and let's do. Yeah, this is a random audio. Okay, so you guys realize something? The moment I imported it, it came right here. Okay. And of course, I can zoom in so you guys can see it bigger, okay? And guess what? If I play, you start seeing all these great looking stuff. Guys, who wouldn't want to mix in something that looks like this? Like I said, graphically, it might just look, you might do it just for the graphics, but there's a lot of benefits to this, and that'll be something that I'll talk about in another lesson. This is literally like the same environment. It's just arranged differently. All these things you are seeing can be seen in the main display of Studio One, but it's just arranged differently. It's similar to the fact that you use on Photoshop, and Photoshop has like the different views. It's literally the same thing. So guys, this is literally like your mastering view. Who wouldn't want to be in an environment that looks like this? Who wouldn't want to be in an environment that looks like this? You guys see that? And guess what? If you want to load up your Waves plugins, boom, you go to your Waves, boom, 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 get your work done. If you want to, go ahead and, if you want to go ahead and, let me see. Like I said, there are certain things you might have to learn in this. You might have to pull things up, learn your way around. Okay, so this on the master, and this on the post, this on the insert. So guys, understand the differences between an insert, a master, and a post. Okay, all right. So which means if you want to work on a plugin or whatever you want to do, it's on the master. This is where you need to be. If you want to do it directly on this track, this is where you need to be, right on that insert. Okay, like I said, I'm just learning my way around. Okay, once I learn my way around, I will get more, into this to tell you guys more things. All right, and besides this, you got to learn certain things. Should you be, checking your, LU alone or your LUFS, or should you be keeping it at the peaks, the K20, K14, blah, blah, blah. So far I've learned that K14 is a good place to be. So like I said, I've done my research before making a decision to go with Studio One. Okay, but I'll tell you, if you're, mixing, this is where you need to kind of, be, keep it somewhere at K14 or K12, either one of those is fine, but don't just keep it here and just check those. And keep in mind, when I play, the bars will be coming, and what I don't want is, I don't want it to be going above the zero. Okay, and so I got to check all that, and then check this part to make sure it's hidden where I need it to be for radio level stuff. Then if I want to check the K12, I could also do the same thing. Hey, it's getting too high for me, whatever be the case, get it done. You might need to put a limiter on, put on that limiter, get it done. Okay, so guys, I think I'm going to wrap up this lesson. Okay, I think this is, you guys might be looking at this and saying that, hey, this is so good to be true. But guys, I think Studio One has really stepped it up. It's literally everything you need in one software. And I think I like that about it. Some people will not like that about it. Some people will just say, I prefer to use a dedicated mastering app because it's more, it's more ready for it, whatever be the case. I'm just telling you, check it out, and I think you guys will like it. Okay, so that is just my first impression on Studio One 5 Professional. Okay, Studio One 5 Professional. I think so far I like what I'm seeing, from the little that I've learned so far. And I think if you guys check it out, you guys will not be disappointed. Okay, so that is just my, short 2 cents on Studio One, Studio One 5 Pro, okay, or Professional. Okay, I think they do have a producer version in other versions. I don't know about in 5, but don't confuse producer with professional. Okay, all right, don't confuse producer or professional. Okay, professional is what I'm talking about here. Okay, so Studio One 5 Professional, check that out. I think you guys will love it. All right, well guys, that will do it for my lesson. Sorry for the technical difficulties and the few things we had, but I hope it has helped you and you have a better knowledge on Studio One, and you at least know what route you want to take with your purchase or with what you want to do with Studio One. I think there's a lot that I'll be doing with Studio One once I move everything over and I get comfortable. I think I'm starting to get it. It's more of the mixing side that I'm concerned about, that I really want to really get deep into. As far as recording, general recording, I'm not worried about that. You can literally use any basic DAW, Acid Pro, and all these old softwares to do those basic stuff. It's really more of the mixing aspect, mixing and mastering aspect that I'm more interested in. And so I will be looking more into that. All right. So guys, this will do it for our lesson. I hope you guys have been blessed. Until next time, Minister Stein, Stein KBUSU with L4C Multimedia and KMTV bringing you this lesson. Until next time, remain blessed. If you have any questions, shoot me a personal message and let's talk, or comment down on this video and let's talk. Okay. All right. Until next time, you all remain blessed. More to come. All right. Stay blessed. Bye.